Hey everyone, I'm Holden, and today we'll be talking about my top 5 games of 2015. By no means is this an exhaustive list, and nor is it a list of the absolute best games of this year, but what it is a list of the games that came out this year that I had the most fun with. So that means that games like Metal Gear Solid 5 and The Witcher 3 won't be on this list because I didn't play them. And also, while Rare Replay is great, it's more of a collection of old games, so that's not going to be here either. So now that's all out of the way, let's get going with the list.
Number 5, Fallout 4. I want to start off by saying that I actually really like Fallout 4. I know in my review for this I made a lot of negative points, but that's not to say I've not been enjoying my time with it. I still don't think it's as good as previous entries in the series, but that's like comparing a bowl of ramen to a slightly bigger bowl of ramen. The fact that it's not as good as them doesn't stop it from being good on its own. The game is huge and easy to lose yourself in, and once you get deep enough in, a lot of the criticisms I made can be ignored. Once I got over the problems I had at the beginning of the game, I really began to love it. After about 30 hours of play, I finally found my perfect way to enjoy the game. Just wandering the wasteland with Dogmeat is how I ended up spending a lot of my time, and it's how I had the most fun. I feel this is where Fallout 4 is at its best, when you just ignore the storyline and let yourself roam around helping out random people. I even started to like the building and modding system. It doesn't hurt to have a massive sniper rifle either. Number 4, Xenoblade Chronicles X. I know it's kind of cheating to put 2 games in one entry, but as they're both part of the same series, I felt the 2 fit well together here. Xenoblade Chronicles was a remake of the original game made for the new Nintendo 3DS, and is also the only game which is exclusive to the system. The character dialogue in particular is a huge reason why I loved it. I spent a lot of time playing this game this year, but I still haven't finished it, and a lot of that is due to the release of X. X is the semi-sequel, which expands upon the gameplay of the first, while also adding in huge new mechanics of its own, most notably the mechs known as Skells. I'm really enjoying this game so far, and it's actually the reason I'm making this list at all. The games are beautiful, with worlds that really draw you in, and populated with deep and interesting characters. I highly recommend checking them out. X though does have a number of flaws, but I'll get into those in my review coming in the next few weeks.
But it's our new home.
Number 3, Transformers Devastation. This was the subject of my most recent review, so I don't have a lot of new stuff to say, except that the game is great and you should all go buy it. It's a deep, tightly constructed and intensely fun game which everyone deserves to play. Sure, some aspects are a bit repetitive, with particular notes of the environment designs, but it's not enough to distract from the experience at all. To be honest, if you're paying that much attention to the environment, you're kinda missing the point. Transformers Devastation is on the list more due to what it represents than for the game itself. It's the first time that I really got this type of game, and now I really can't stop. I just can't get enough of them. I have this intense urge to go play more games in the character action genre, games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, and it's all thanks to this. Perhaps it's not the best example of the genre, but it's definitely a great entry point. Go and try it. It's cheap and fun, and at worst you're supporting one of the best developers out there. Number 2, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Assassin's Creed Syndicate is a brilliant game. I've spent a good 40 hours with the game so far, and that only looks to get bigger with the coming downloadable content, starting with the Jack the Ripper expansion coming out today on PC. Victorian London was an awesome setting, but threw up problems due to how tall all the buildings were at that point in time. To combat this, they added in the rope launcher. I think that this addition allowed the game to reignite the stale traversal mechanics from the previous games, and recaptured the fun of the first few. I could only wish all the Assassin's Creed games were as good as this one. Personally, I didn't like the heavy focus on boats in Back Flag, and I found Unity dull besides just being broken. Syndicate is the first game in the Assassin's Creed series in a long time that I really truly enjoyed. Not since Brotherhood have I loved one as much as this, and in my opinion this may well be one of, if not the, best in the series.
Welcome to the Rooks!
Number 1, Bloodborne. Anyone who knows me probably saw this coming. I think we can all agree that Bloodborne is fantastic. I've been a fan of the Soul series for a long time, and while technically not part of it, I would really have a hard time choosing between this spiritual successor and Dark Souls as my favourite. The fast-paced gameplay with its risk-reward fighting is satisfying, and the Lovecraftian vibes from the art direction and story really hooked me. It's tough, but fair, with each death coming with the understanding of what you did wrong and giving you clues of how to beat it. The game was just a spectacular experience, and one that I'd recommend to anyone. I've known since March that this was my game of the year, and the Old Hunters expansion which recently released has only served to solidify that in my mind. If you haven't played this yet, then go out and get it. If I hadn't already owned a PS4, I would have bought one just for this. Alongside the Old Hunters, a Game of the Year edition was released, which includes both the DLC and the base game, which is most certainly worth your money. You won't regret it.
So that's the list then. The choices might seem a bit obvious given the state of my channel, but what can I say? I like what I like. I played a lot of games this year, and these are the ones that really stuck with me and left an impact. Maybe you agree, or maybe you don't, but hopefully at least you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.